Well, hi. Good morning. Man, I started stream 20 minutes early. I started stream 20 minutes early, and now I'm about to eat and then start stream late. So I don't. We are barely hanging on around here. We are figuring things out as we go along. The best streamer, absolutely. Alright, how is everyone doing today? Today is the 26th at noon. Too early for me, but I have to stream tomorrow even earlier because Karinga and I will be playing Content Warning tomorrow, and that's going to be an interesting experience. For the most part, I believe the only things that need to be paid attention to are that this is kind of an interesting different type of stream. In most streams, I'll just leave it on one screen and kind of just play the game and hang out with people and do the thing. Wrong, it's me. I'm all you should pay attention to. Absolutely. 100% Ziona. Absolutely. I. If you haven't done so yet, you should follow Ziona on Twitch because she plays a lot of games that are in the same relative area as me. She likes FPS games. She likes RPGs. That's a joke. There are no jokes. There's no bits. No bits. Zero. It's always serious here. It's always serious here. Um. So yeah, there's a handful of new things that I've added to stream for the people who want to sow a little bit of chaos in between what are essentially going to be like recordings where it's going to be full screen. There's going to be a camera overlay, but there's not going to be any chat. There's not going to be any alerts. And that's because I want to get as clean of a video as possible to YouTube to record episodically. And I figured we could try doing an episodic stream style similar to how Steve and George on Twitch does it, where it's just a 3 hour long stream, but in between 30 to 40 minute episodes, there's like 10 or 15 minutes where the chat hangs out and, consolidate information for a playthrough. And I have my notepad. You all know this notepad, you love it. This thing is how I'm going to document everything I do in this game. I'm not going to be using a guide. I'm not going to be using any pre-generated tables. I'm going to try to learn as much as I possibly can as I go through it. As opposed to a completely blind playthrough, I have played this specific game for the past, like, I don't know, there's a 10-year gap, but I've been playing Story of Seasons since about as early as 2004. I play a lot of Stardew Valley, and Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life is the first farm life sim game I ever really played. So that means that there's a lot more to remember because it's been so long since I sat down and played the game to a length further than year 3. And year 3 is where my current file is ended, or where my current file is, where I'm just playing it casually to learn any mechanics and how things have changed. So for the most part, it's just going to be a pretty bog standard experience. However, as I mentioned on Twitter, there are some things that you, as the audience, can interact with. For instance, Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life allows you to play as a series of identities that aren't exclusively male or female. They let you choose they them pronouns, so you can be non binary or gender fluid and present yourself in a way that you deem suitable. And you can also romance any of the partners regardless of your gender identity. which means that all 8 romance options are available. There are 4 male and 4 female options. As we play through the game, I'll do my best to experience all the heart events before making the final decision on who we romance and marry for the rest of the game. That is going to be up to you. As I play through this game, you're going to meet these characters, and based on which ones you like best, we'll take the top 4, the two males, 2 females, and see which one out of this playthrough people are most likely to want to know uh, more about, and see how this goes. But for the most part, everything I do is going to be fully autonomous. Well, other than me being me, I'm going to be about as autonomous as possible with my playstyle. Words are hard. Words are hard. I haven't eaten. I'm going to eat. I'm going to eat, and I'm going to let this game speak for itself, because I don't think a lot of people here in chat. I know a handful of you. I know Rev has. I know Ziona has. I think maybe Katzy has seen a bit of it, but this is the game that has taken over my life for the past 2 weeks. As opposed to just being a normal person like everyone else and playing the new Stardew Valley 1.6 update, I decided to play A Wonderful Life. So, everybody, I hope, has enjoyed the new content. I don't know what they added other than a new farm type. I just haven't had the interest in playing Stardew Valley. There's something about it that just doesn't click like the Story of Seasons games have to me. Seen you play it, it is on my wish list. Ah, yes. Good. Then my influence has worked. More people to support a franchise that I hold very dear. For maybe those who weren't too closely attached to Harvest Moon, you may not know what Story of Seasons is. Especially if you haven't like played a Harvest Moon game or seen one in a while. Long story short, Natsume owns the name Harvest Moon. Harvest Moon and the characters' names are Natsume's because Natsume localized the English script. The original developers, or the studio behind Harvest Moon, was it was already there before seeing you play. Yes, absolutely. But in between about 2013 to 2015, Marvelous Interactive ended their agreement with Natsume and made their own franchise called Story of Seasons with the original Harvest Moon team behind it. And now Story of Seasons is what we know Harvest Moon is. There's the Friends of Mineral Town game that got fully remade. So if you have played any of the older Harvest Moon games that took place in Mineral Town, like the GBA games or Harvest Moon 64, then you know the town quite well. Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life was my first Farm Life Sim game, and I was waiting on them to hopefully remake it. I knew that there was a low chance that they would because Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life isn't really highly regarded. In its development, it changed quite a lot between the 3 versions of A Wonderful Life that they made. There were the 2 GameCube versions, Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life and Harvest Moon Another Wonderful Life, and those were gender separated games that you had to buy each one individually in order to play. So if you wanted to play as a male, you had to play A Wonderful Life, and if you played as a female, you would have to pick Another Wonderful Life. But the candidates were always the same. If you were playing as a male character, you could only romance the female options. If you were playing a female character, you could only romance the male options. And in Another Wonderful Life, it was still strangely restrictive because they would only allow you to give birth to a son, even if you were playing Another Wonderful Life. It wasn't until A Wonderful Life Special Edition that they changed that, and we'll get into that when that inevitably happens. But for the most part, this game has just had a very awkward history across the Harvest Moon franchise. A lot of people agree that the next game that they should try to remake is Save the Hometown, which I'm personally fine with. I think the more realistic Harvest Moon games are more interesting. Uh, and A Wonderful Life is no different because instead of focusing on the farm aspect of it, you focus more on the life aspect of Harvest Moon games. And we'll be spending a decent amount of time learning about the ins and outs of a little town that exists in a land called Forgetful Valley. I'm going to go ahead and eat, and then we'll start in, I don't know, about 5 minutes. But if you have any questions or comments, what have you, then feel free to ask them. I'm just going to let the game run in the background. Give you some nice calm music. But yeah. I saw that everyone was sort of hanging out, doing well. Hopefully your day's going all right if you're at work or at school. Be respectful of the individuals around you, at the very least. I know who I'm talking to, but I sincerely hope you enjoy your time here. We're just gonna have fun. We're just gonna have a lot of fun. I'm gonna eat. So, in the middle of all this, I have a couple questions for those in chat. What gender do we play as? Or, well, what pronouns should we use for the playthrough? She, her? Okay. Well, here's hoping you feel better, Catsy. Be sure to take it easy. Alright. While I'm eating, has anyone had their lunch already? Anything unique or special? Maybe a comfort food? Bagels and a pear, I mean, as long as you're eating, I can't complain. I didn't have breakfast. Only just now having lunch. Very behind. Or ahead? I don't know. I'm a mess. Well, look who's talking in chat. Look who's talking in chat, Karinga. Look at you. Look at you. Dinner for me because time zone. Mushroom pepper rice bowl. Interesting. Interesting. I'm not a fan of mushrooms personally, but I can see why other people enjoy it. I don't like earthen flavors, really. It's really hard for me to find ones I like. I just started enjoying tea. If anyone ever gets the opportunity, by the way, I would recommend mixing some green tea with cranberry grape juice. It's been a very nice alternative to drinking soda. I'm logged into the wrong YouTube channel. Pardon me while I just go to my Stream Elements dashboard. I don't use this that often, but in certain instances I think it's necessary. So, I don't think I mentioned this yet. Maybe I forgot, but I did see that someone, I think Catsy brought it up. I do now have tips and bits based redemptions. There's only like a couple. I don't know what to add. I need to be more particular and careful as well. I can't do anything that's going to be like copyrighted or licensed. And it's there's a couple there at least. We'll see how it goes. I'm trying to progress New Vegas more in Old World. Yeah, Old World Blues is an experience. What I need to do is I need to reinstall Fallout Tale 2 Wastelands. Because I love those games. They're very fun. You gotta be careful at all times. I mean, it wouldn't be a stream without a little bit of scuff, right? People are just like, you want to play the game, right? Of course. But I also need to eat because I know I'm going to be here a while. And I don't usually start this early. Yeah, I can't do mushrooms at all. It's a texture thing. Okay. Early stream threw me off. Yeah. Yeah, it'll be a surprise for sure. I I do love some video games. Should I make a cup of coffee? I should make a cup of coffee, huh? I'm gonna be talking for like 3 hours. So I'll talk about this once I can make some coffee. I'll be right back. All right. Well, I ate an apple. Well, congratulations. You did it. You personed. So allow me to show you the new screen. Ta-da! uh, the sign is royalty free. I mean, I can't draw wood to save my life, but I did try to recreate the logo for camera overlay. I did my best. It took only like an hour of meticulously trying to learn how to draw leaves from scratch. Oops. I just wanted something a little special for playthroughs that isn't like so deeply tied to my aesthetic and kind of fits the theme. I'm happy with this result. But yeah, there's a handful of people here who have maybe seen 5 or 6 hours of this game, but that's only like a fraction of, of how long this game takes. I will get into the nitty-gritty in a second, but I estimate that this game is going to take... Some days are shorter than others. I'd say it takes about 20 hours for every year. 15 to 20 hours per year. Some days are going to be way shorter than others. And then there's fishing and mining. So it's going to be a lot of downtime. But I'm going to start doing a tech test. In case anyone is wondering, these recordings are going to be in 4K resolution to get as high of a bitrate as possible for YouTube. The stream is going to be at 1080p. So it's going to be about as good as I can get it. But I want to try to get a lossless image from this. And this means we are officially in uncharted territory. Thank you so much for the lurk, everyone who's just hanging out doing their thing. So, we are going to do a simple test of just walking around for a couple minutes in a mid-game save, testing to see how the game handles 1080p Warudo, 1080p game, 1080p streaming, 4K recording. I need to see how all four of these things work together in order for this to work out. So welcome to Partial Tech Test. I am using you as experimental beds, essentially. This is an early game save, so there's nothing too spoilery happening right now. But we're looking for any frame rate drops or hitches. You'll see what I mean if we just go to higher activity areas. There'll be a kind of like jitteriness to how the character moves. It's because this entire game it runs on like a game clock, so you need to make sure that the frame rate is fine. Fortunately, it looks like it is tolerable. Maybe a few hitches here and there, but that's no different from the standard game. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. So, who's ready? Okay. Welcome to Story of Seasons, A Wonderful Life. It all started with a letter. Can't remember how many years it had been since I got one. See, I had this friend once. We used to share all our hopes and dreams with each other. And the sender of this letter is Kid. The letter was all about life in the city. The kid asked a bunch of questions about farming, and at the end wrote, "I'd like to try working the farm." To a city kid, I guess life in Forgotten Valley must have seemed appealing. Well, it took me by surprise, I'll say that much. I closed my eyes and saw my old friend smile, just like it was yesterday. It takes guts to travel all the way from the big city to Forgotten Valley, a place most folks, well, forgot about. Alright, character creation. You have 4 face types, 2 masculine, 2 feminine. I've found that these 2 are more, well, this one's more androgynous. Guess life here seemed appealing. Well, my rent got raised by about $300, yeah. I'd say it's a little bit more appealing. I'll go with these eyes. If the audio needs to come down at any point, by the way, feel free to tell me and I'll make adjustments. That'll be fine. And blue eyes. Although silver eyes would be a lot of fun. I do really like how the blue eyes look. Okay. So once we've made these decisions, we cannot change this once we are done with character creation. These, however, can be changed whenever. I want to go with something unique. This is the base masculine hairstyle, this is the base femme hairstyle. And then you have a bunch of alternating hairstyles for varying individuals. I kind of like this, but sounds low to me, but I'm playing New Vegas. I can only help you so much. You know what? I kind of like how this looks. I kind of like how that looks. We'll go with it. Well, there's a lot of... At least there's a couple of, like, vibrant colors. I think I'm just gonna stick with black. And then our base outfit... We'll just go with this. Red? Okay. Red. Somebody asked for red, I'll take red. We're still in character creation, you know? If we're gonna fit to red, then I should... Oh wait, I can't change eye color. Well, I could, but I'm not going to. Yeah, we'll go with the base that. And then enter a name, pronouns she, her. We need a name for this character. Let's just look at her real quick. Snooch? No, we're not doing Snooch. That's a dog name. We'll use Snooch for a dog. I feel like that's required. How about Anna? Anna? You'll have to stick with your name and pronouns once you finalize them. Is that okay? Yeah. Oh, we'll commit. So, you're Anna, huh? I'm real sorry to hear about your old man. He was a good guy. You're gonna make a lot of friends in the next life, I bet. I gotta say, though, you must take after him. No average young'un would want to pack up and come to Forgotten Valley of all places. Well, once you spend a little time here, I'm sure you'll figure out if it's really the life you want. Alright, this is it. This is the land your old man and I found. The buildings are run down, sure, but you can still use them. Soil's fertile enough to grow crops on, too. See this pasture? If you spread some fertilizer on it, you'll have a place for your livestock to graze. So, how about it, kid? Ready to take over the farm? Yeah, sure. Seems like a good idea. That's what I like to hear. I'm sure your old man's cheering you on, too. Come on, then. Might as well give you the grand tour. This here's the barn. It's where you'll raise cows, horses, and sheep. I'll take you inside later. Here's the shipping bin. Get to know it, cause it's gonna be your best friend. If you've milk or any other products to ship, put them in here. I'll sell them for you at the city market the next morning. If there's something you want me to buy, write it down in the ledger here. Over there's your storage shed and your food storage. If your bag ever starts getting too full, you can throw items you don't need in one of those. I'll put the smaller items you buy and any profits you make here. Other folks might leave gifts or rewards around here too, so keep an eye out for those. This song is stuck in my head forever, I swear. This is the coop. You might have guessed, but this is where you'll raise your chickens. That there is one of your fields. You can plant seeds there, but you'll need a hoe to plow the soil first. Speaking of which, I got a few packs of seeds and some basic tools for you. Try using them when you get a chance. Oh. Huh. Guess a couple stray dogs settled in here. And it looks like they've already warmed up to you. Alright, alright. I'll let you keep one. But just one, alright? I ain't a huge fan of dogs. Now go on and pick a favorite. Do we want the pointy-eared dog or the floppy-eared dog? The floppy-eared dog is the classic one. That's the one that has kind of been a mainstay throughout the Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons franchise. Not a whole lot of people pick the pointy-eared dog, and I feel kind of bad. There's already a 50-50 split on who we pick. Very good. Very good, chat. I'm proud of you. Should I just, like, flip a coin? I have a d20. I'll flip a coin. Or actually, no. I'll roll a d20. Alright, which one's odds? Floppy is odds? Okay. I'm just gonna have to roll this on my... Here we go. Not really even. Okay. 17. 17, we have floppy-eared dog. And people already chose a name. People wanted me to name this thing Scooch, so it's gonna be named Scooch. Interesting tidbit about this name. I actually had a pet dog. Or, well, my grandparents had a dog named Hooch. So it's kind of a half nod to that name as well, I feel, using that name. Alright. Guess I'll build this one a doghouse, too. He's gonna go find an owner for that little with that little pointy-eared dog, too, so don't worry about it. And this here is your house. I tried to fix it up a bit before you arrived, so you should be able to settle right in. Wasn't it supposed to be Snooch? Oh well. Well, now it's Scooch. Huh? Oh, my house. See that cabin over there? That's where I live. Well, that covers the main facilities. Ain't much, but if you save up, maybe you can expand some of them. Oh, before I forget, I said we'd go in the barn later, didn't I? Well, it's later. Follow me. I bought you a cow as a welcome present. Her feed bin is all set up over there. Oh, and she'll need a name, too. I'm gonna call this cow Luna, because that's the default name I always go with for Harvest Moon saves. Luna is always the first name of every cow. Or always the name of the first cow. Luna, huh? I like it. She's our first animal, so take good care of her. She gave birth about 10 days ago, so she'll produce plenty of milk. As long as she's healthy, you should be able to milk her twice a day. I think that about sums up the farm. Oh, wait. We gotta decide on a name for it. Any ideas? My default name for this is Verdant Farm. Verdant Farm has always been a default name that I use for Harvest Moon saves, other than like Hopeful Farm, Requiem. I like that. I like the theming on that. We'll go with Requiem Farm. Absolutely. Oops. There we go. Where's the baby? Odds are they sold the baby, or this was something. I don't know. Not gonna worry about it, though. We have a female cow. Well, I've got you. I might as well introduce you to the locals. I'm no social butterfly, but a youngin' like you is sure to charm the heck out of them. Ready to go? Hmm? What's the matter? Nothing. I'm ready. Alright, let's get to it then. So, get ready to meet all the townsfolk. I will be sure to point out which ones are romance candidates. This here's the Layover Inn. Tay runs the place with his wife Lou. Their son Rock lives with them too. Rock is one of the candidates. Oh, and there's a girl named Nami who's staying up on the second floor. That's also a candidate. This is Gary and his wife Nina. This is Chris. Well, short and sweet. I appreciate it. That's Chris's husband, Sully, and their son, Hugh. Gavin here is owner and head barista at the Bluebird Cafe. Molly helps him out part-time. Molly is another romance candidate. Cute kid. Romana here owns the villa, where she lives with her granddaughter, Lumina. The butler over there is called Sebastian. Lumina is also a candidate. Oh, the guy playing guitar? That's Gustafa. He's a real character, always strumming some tune or another. I think Gustafa is another candidate, as well as Gordy. That guy over there is Gordy. Man of few words, but a real passionate artist, apparently. That's Vesta. She runs the agricultural farm here. Over there is Matthew, her little brother. Cecilia helps them both with the farm work. They sell seeds here, so take a look at their stock when you get a chance. Cecilia is yet another romance candidate. A few other folks live in that direction. We've got the twins who craft fireworks and an oddball scientist. Best not to ask about his experiments. Plus, there's an archaeologist staying in a tent up by the waterfall there. He and his assistant dig up all sorts of weird stuff. Alright, that should cover everyone. I'm sure you're exhausted. It's been a long day, so take it easy for now. If you think of any other questions for me later, don't you hesitate to ask. Alright? Yes, sir. Oh yeah, there's something I forgot to give you. This camera belonged to your old man. Ain't the newest model, obviously, but it does the job well enough. Let's try taking a test photo real quick. You can use it whenever you're feeling, photographic. Now get some rest, kid. You've earned it. Mostly girls, unless I miscalculated. I think it's equal. I think it's 4-4. I'll run through the candidates for sure. Ooh, never seen a nature sprite like that before. Hey, who could it be? Beats the heck out of me. As far as I know, we're the only nature sprites in Forgotten Valley. Yeah. So what are we looking at then? Good question. Hey buddy, what's your name? Anna? Gotcha. So you're a nature sprite named Anna. Roger that. The name's Ace. Nice to meet you. I'm Jack. Nice to greet you. And my name's Hart. Let's all be friends, okay? Yeah, sure. I like friends. If I'm right, I forgot Matthew. I think Matthew is the other male candidate. So, at the start of every single day, we check the TV because the TV gives us a 6-hour forecast of what is upcoming. So, for the next 6 hours, we know that it's going to be sunny, and there could be chances where the news forecast is actually wrong. So, you have to check multiple times. I remember these people played The More Friends. Yeah, a lot of the names carried over. More importantly, on the original GameCube release, you could connect your Game Boy Advance to, you could connect your Game Boy Advance to your GameCube and use a copy of Friends of Mineral Town, and you would gain some extra stuff by connecting those two games together. So if you did that before, then odds are that's what you know this game from. I know it because I played this first. I didn't play the GBA game. Howdy, anglers. Today we've asked Skylar from Dewdrop Village to see what's biting in the rivers around here. Just a news report about fishing. And the Daily Dairy, which is going to tell us about cows and other sorts of livestock. We have a calendar. It's time to talk about why Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons A Wonderful Life is kind of substantially different from any other game in the series. Small colored elves or whatever they are? Yeah. The nature sprites or harvest sprites are thematically the same across both Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons. It's just they're named differently. Harvest sprites can't be used by Story of Seasons because Harvest Sprites is tied to the name Harvest Moon, which is why they had to rename a bunch of stuff. Cecilia isn't the original name of Cecilia. It was originally Celia in the GameCube and Special Edition releases. Before you go out, don't forget to check Takakura's notes. You can find them on your table. His notes have lots of helpful stuff in them. So this is just a glossary explaining how to play the game. It's interesting to note that these tutorials are very helpful, simply because this game I consider to be a little bit more challenging to get to grips with. In most Harvest Moon experiences, you start with nothing but an open plot and sort of build your way up to stuff like chicken coops or cows, and you don't really do that. You have a barn, you have a chicken coop, and you already start with one cow. So by default, you already have way more to work with. These are all DLC outfits, and we gotta wonder. Nice to meet you, nature sprites. Reach Chapter 1 beginnings, as well as obtaining one animal for having a dog. This game has a gigantic tracker of things. By a gigantic tracker, I mean there are 88 accomplishments to look for. There are obviously going to be challenges just for getting through the base game, but I'm going to try to get as many of these wonders as possible. It's going to take time, but for the aspect of this video game, let's explain a handful of things. As you've no doubt seen from the calendar, as opposed to a lot of farm life sims whose seasons last about 28 days, this game has seasons of 10 days. I'll explain all this. Every 10 days, the season changes. So not only do crops grow way faster, but you can do a handful of actions multiple times. So in most Harvest Moon games, you can only milk a cow once. In this, you have to milk it twice a day, once every 10 hours. Another major difference between the original Harvest Moon A Wonderful Life and this is that your animal's happiness and their health are combined. They're one singular stat. The best way to keep your animals happy and healthy is to simply talk to them, snuggle them, and brush them. In doing that increases their happiness, which gets you a higher quality of items, sometimes from the animals. So cows will produce higher quality milk, sheep will produce higher quality wool, and so on and so forth ad nauseum. So my current floor plan is that I have to befriend a lot of people. There are a shocking amount of people in this town. And this list will grow over time. But for the most part, we're just going to plan on getting as many of these romance options raised and figure out the rest. And fortunately, one of the best gifts to give about half of the people in this town are flowers. The other half will take a little bit of time. It's going to need a little bit of finagling to get right. But there are a handful of items that I'm picking up right now. The flowers are seasonal. They change every 10 days based on the season. And during the spring, items called aromatic herbs will spawn in the overworld. Aromatic herbs are the best way to sort of recover stamina and feed yourself. Unfortunately, the people at the site here are not nearly that interested in flowers. So I'm not going to be able to get much from them. One major difference in the world as opposed to Harvest Moon Wonderful Life or the special edition is that they lowered the water level between the Goddess Spring and the Fossil Dig site so that you could just walk between them more easily, which is a big quality of life that makes traversing a lot easier since now you aren't blockaded by what is essentially a U-shaped path that you have to take from Vestus Farm to go up to the fossil site. Now you can just go to the fossil site. I'm going to give this guy an aromatic herb. I'm called Puyi. Traveling to Coco Island very far away is a dream of mine. But to get there, my purse must jingle-jangle very loudly. I traded many items of mine for coins, but still it was not enough. You have the face of a good person, yes. I can tell. Would you help your good new friend Puyi's dream happen? So the most important thing about the Goddess Spring is that if you eat one of these weird-looking mushrooms, you shrink down to size. There's a little door at the base of this tree. This tree is where the harvest sprites live, and every day you can go talk to one of them, and they will give you a new recipe. These recipes are completely random, are randomly given, and can require a wide array of items. Way more than I even have available right now. And that's because we haven't met a certain character yet. So, it is currently 8 a.m. I should travel back to Vestus Farm and get more crops, because we only have 5 tomato seeds and an apple seed. And the apple seed's going to be fine. We can plant that in our poor soil, since it's not going to require anything too unique to grow. But I need more crop seeds of more variety that I can grow in spring, since it's going to require a lot of time, and we need to make sure that we can cover all of our bases. So Vesta's an absolute sweetheart. Very protective, but as long as everything's fine, we can just give her a flower. Gotta take it off your hands? Help yourself. So Vesta likes flowers. Nobody's in the shop right now. I can buy seeds from the other house, because I know Cecilia and Matthew are usually in this house. Vesta puts more love and care into her crops than anyone I know. That's why all our produce tastes so good. That aside, did you want to purchase anything from us today? Yeah, absolutely. Tomato seeds will grow from spring to autumn. We have 5 seeds, so I'm gonna buy 13. Are you done shopping? Not yet. And then we're gonna grow watermelon seeds. I don't think I'm gonna have time to grow potato seeds. Well, actually, no, they should grow because it's still spring. Okay, I can work with that. And then we're gonna buy 18 watermelon seeds. And we're gonna buy... I already have a bias for Matthew? Alright, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, keep those reservations. I'm gonna buy some. I'm gonna buy 9 strawberry seeds. I do need to be a little bit more careful because I don't have the stamina to take care of all of these crops in one sitting. And we also need a little bit of money on standby. Yeah, I'm done. Thank you very much. Oh, and come again soon. So, I forgot to turn on one setting. In the system options, you can go to gameplay settings and turn off a bunch of parameters. I usually have the input display turned off, but for new players, I can show that just to let you know what's going on and what's happening. Anyway, are you here to shop? Nah, just talking to you. So, hidden in every single house, there are these notes. You can find hidden items throughout some of the candidates' rooms that tell you their current relationship status, and this is just a legacy thing. Since you can just do that from this menu now, you can see what characters like you and what characters dislike you. And as it turns out, you start off with a decent group of individuals who don't really think anything other than indifferently about you. We don't have a whole lot of gifts to give people, but I can give Cecilia a flower. Okay. So we're done with this section over here. We need to grab this bulletin board since there are requests that we have to grab now. Requests are a thing that happen on the 1st and 6th of every single month. Most of these are optional. You don't need to do anything with them. But you do get certain rewards that are helpful to you, as well as increasing the relationship with characters, I believe. So these are good to go. We just milked our cow, so we don't need to worry about getting any new milk. We can just put in what we have and worry about the rest. I'm going to put in these 3, and then I can turn that into milky soup. But first, in the home area, there are these 3 aromatic herbs that we can grab off the bat, and we're going to use these for recipes and cook some items soon. First, it's time to till some crops. This is going to be our poor soil. This soil isn't very fertile, it has a handful of issues, and we're going to use this to grow an apple seed, to grow a tree. Poor soil is decent for trees. I need to fill my watering can at the well. Just like that, it is now ready to go, and we don't have to water it again for the rest of the day. Now comes the hard part. We only have a base hoe, and the base hoe requires that we dig 1 tile at a time, and it also is pretty draining on our stamina. So we're only going to be able to do a small handful of crops before we get too tired to place the rest, and then we're going to have to delay by about a day, which is where cooking comes in. So we can finish tilling all this soil and be ready to put down all these crops, but watering all of them is another story. Since we're pretty much at our, we're pretty much on fumes by the time we're done tilling. Alright. We're just a bachelor, living alone on a farm, raising it from scratch. So, what is the one thing that a lot of bachelors do? They learn how to cook. In the salads and soups category, you can find a handful of recipes, including the one that we just learned. I need to check. He wants... Okay. So Gordy wants milky soup. and Cecilia wants tomatoes for a tomato salad. We don't have any more than one milky soup to give Gordy, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do need something to increase our own stamina. So we're gonna go to soups, create by ingredient, and put in the aromatic herb. And just like that, we now have herbal soup. And herbal soup is, without a doubt, one of the easiest recipes to make during springtime. We're going to be doing this multiple times throughout the day, but it gives just a little bit of extra energy and fullness than eating aromatic herbs raw. Oh. Hi there, Anna. Hi. Sorry for the sudden visit, but we had some leftover crops after the harvest, so we wanted to share some with you. Aw. You have fields on your farm too, right? Raising crops is wonderful. I've never done anything more rewarding or fun, but it definitely challenges you to do your best. Is there anything you're having trouble with? If you have any questions along the way, don't be afraid to ask. I'll do my best to help. Yeah, thank you. It's no trouble at all. I'm just happy there's another person around who shares my passion for crops. I hope you and I can be good friends. You said it, Cece. Helping our neighbors is what we do best. Hey there, Anna. Well, hi. I must have lost track of time. We started chatting about the farm. It's fine, it's fine. No worries. Cece hasn't had too many other folks she can shop with, so to speak. But now you're here. When she heard you were coming to the valley, she was thrilled. Bursting at the seams to meet you, really. Vesta? Oh, might have said a bit too much. Still, I hope you and Cece can get to be like 2 peas in a pod. I'm so glad, Anna. Well, yeah, of course, you seem like a good individual. I'm sure the two of you have lots you want to talk about, but we don't want to overstay our welcome now, do we? Oh, no, I suppose we shouldn't. We could talk again next time you're free, okay? Yes, absolutely. Enjoy your time. Vesta, is something wrong? No, just thinking, is all. About Anna. You too? She seems like such a kind person. And I'm real glad she is, but how's about we keep this between us girls, alright? Don't go telling Matt too much. What? Why not? How do I put this? He's a little overprotective of you. I want to make sure he can be pals with Anna too, so let's not give him any reason to be suspicious of our new neighbor. You married her in the game you streamed on Discord, I can see why. Cecilia was one of my earliest video game crushes, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I can't tell anymore if it was a crush or just because she was goals. Either one is a correct choice. She is a sweetheart. We love and respect Cecilia around here. Okay, so we've eaten herbal soup, and this is going to give us a little extra energy, but not enough for us to be able to properly water all these crops. I haven't explained any of the mechanics, by the way, just giving like a base assumption of how things go. We can play with the dog. I saw some people be like, doggo. Well, here. Your dog can learn 4 tricks. But it requires interacting with them multiple times a day to teach them. And there are a handful of great tricks that this dog can learn. Like paw, beg, jump. And everyone's personal favorite, spin. Over the course of the entire playthrough, we will be teaching this dog all 4 of his tricks. A lot of guides say that you can do about 5 training checks with the dog before it starts failing, and then you start losing friendship with them. But I find it safe to be at 4, just because I've had instances where the 5th one has failed. Anyways, we haven't even put down our crops yet, which is good because we're not going to be able to put all of them down. I'm going to start with the tomato seeds. If you hold down left trigger, it will lock you into place so you can just kind of side strafe and get from crop to crop. But as you can see, we're already almost completely out of stamina. And we've only done 18 crops. So we'll have to put the rest in tomorrow once our stamina is recovered and just worry about it later. Oh, there's Molly. In the original game, her name was Muffy. I kind of prefer the new name, I'm not gonna lie. Hello there, Anna. Since you're here, do you have time for a quick chat? Yeah, sure, why not? What do you got? I just adore this view. It always helps me settle down. The rushing water, the gentle breeze. You just don't get this in the city. That's where I used to live, you know. But some things went sour and I ended up moving to Forgotten Valley. Every once in a while when I'm staring out at the river, I think back on all my old heartache. Just kidding. The clean air in the valley has done wonders for my skin, so I like to make sure I spend some time outside every day. Here, see for yourself. Yeah, your complexion is wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Anna. You're such a sweetheart. We really should get to know each other better. I feel like you and I are on the same wavelength. Until next time, then. So, when I first played Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life... Oh, we're just right back into the next event. Okay. Yo, what's up? Wrong way, bud. Over here. Playing hooky from farm work to go for a stroll, huh, Anna? I see how it is. Hey, I'm just messing with you. Don't sweat it. You look like you were having a staring contest with the river, but I figured probably just overworked or something. Not everyone gets this level of concern from a stud like me, by the way. Just saying. Anyway, listen. You have got to relax your shoulders. I've never seen anyone so tense in my life. If you don't take time to chill, life's gonna chew you up and spit you out. Come on, let's hang out and shoot the breeze. Oh, I know that look. You're thinking, wow, this guy is so cool. I gotta know more about him, right? Well, first of all, thank you. I'm flattered, really. Second of all, you're in luck, because I'm happy to reintroduce myself as many times as you need. The name's Rock. I live at the layover inn with my parents. Gotta be a good son and watch over him. You know how it is. Oh, but that's easy stuff. We gotta dig deeper. Let me tell you a few of my favorite things. Hope you're ready for this. I'm all about taking it easy. No work, no pressure, no nothing. Just me, myself, and I living the dream. People do whatever they want in Forgotten Valley. That's what makes it awesome, you know? So you think an all-play, no-work lifestyle would be chill here, but everybody's got a problem with it. And I'm just like, why? That is pretty weird. Right? It's messed up. I'm psyched to meet someone else who understands. I think you and I are gonna get along just fine. So here's to a beautiful friendship, bud. Anyways, I gotta go back to doing what I love. A whole lot of nothing. Catch you around, Anna. Bye. Yeah, that's a character. Oh, by the way, this is Gustafa. He likes flowers. Gustafa's a chill dude. His redesign is a lot less weird. So, they wanted... Oh, I forgot to make Cordy's milky soup. I need to go ahead and make milky soup. There's a pun in chat, I can tell. Oh boy. Why is Thor a gardener, Ressi? Let's hear it. No, I mean, that guy was just pirate software. Oh. That's what you mean. Okay. I wouldn't worry about it. He's just living his life. I'm living mine. I don't see why there's a problem. So the Bluebird Cafe should be open now. So, way before I knew what a farm life sim was, I didn't know that there were multiple romance options. Most games I played rarely ever even had a romance option, let alone one you could pick. So, when the game first does its introductions, Muffy starts off liking you. So I thought, okay. And she also has, coincidentally, the easiest relationship checker in the game. It's just right in the back corner of this bar, and you know how Molly feels. But Cecilia, hers is upstairs in a room, and I don't know if you can even find Lumina's. I don't remember where Lumina's is. I don't think I remember Nami's either. What? Who are you? Oh, Anna. Right, the one Takakura mentioned. My wife Nina and I used to live in the city, but once we started getting on in years, we decided to move out here for a change of pace. Well, I think both of these want flowers. You're a new farmer, aren't you? My husband Gary and I are getting on in years, you see. So we've decided to savor the time we have left by staying here in Forgotten Valley. Yeah, of course I'm giving you a rose. Or at least I'm giving you a flower. Never tried any of the wild plants around here. Oh, right, he doesn't vibe with flowers. It's fine, as long as it doesn't reduce the relationship. Giving characters something they hate does reduce their affection to you, but also telling them no to something blocks you out of being able to give it to people. So this here is Nami. This is the person we didn't meet before at the layover inn. Everyone's in such a good mood when spring rolls around, but I don't get it. What's there to be excited about? Nami is an interesting individual. I don't think I've ever romanced Nami. But I also haven't romanced any of the male characters. And that is a decision completely out of my control. That is purely down to who chat and the Spiritbound in general decide are the most likely candidates for Anna. I'm just here to play as a mediator to kind of show you the base experience of things. For the most part, the first day you play is just you kind of coming to grips with how this place is laid out. This town is interestingly designed in that it is without a doubt one of the smallest maps in the whole series. This farm plot here is not even as big as the Ocean View Hill, and you can walk around this entire map in maybe the span of a couple of minutes. But it's more or less more jam-packed than any other version of the game because the characters don't pop into existence within 15 feet of you like they used to. 20 years has come a long way, and that means that we can see people that we want to talk to from a mile away, which is great because it's sometimes hard to track where these people are. They have completely different routines based on what type of weather it is, what time of the season it is. They do have different routines depending on certain days, whether or not the market is in town, whether or not there's a holiday. You have to keep track of all these things in order to really get to know any of the denizens. OMG, Illumina looks like an adult now. Yeah, a lot of characters got redesigned, and Lumina is one of them. She used to look very young, very, very young, but they aged her up properly without completely removing the fact that, like, just you can look naturally young with certain outfits. So this is Gordy, and he's, without a doubt, one of the most annoying people to talk to. Streamer playing Story of Seasons, did you know there's a thriving modding scene for this game now? There is. I've actually downloaded a handful of mods before. I installed some of the texture packs and whatnot, but for the sake of simplicity, this is the vanilla game, just with a reshade running. The reason why Gordy is the worst person to try to increase your relationship with is because when he's moping, like that, when his arms are crossed and he's just standing still, he can just decide to tell you to bug off. And when he's in that mood of just like, no, don't talk to me, it reduces your friendship with him, and it's a mess. Yeah, here you go. All right, we are done with the milky soup quest line for Gordy. Guess I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, thank you for joining, Kringa. I love that they remade it, but I miss the old graphics. Absolutely. I'm just glad that this got remade at all, because I know that it's a far more interesting game, just in the life aspect of Harvest Moon, that not a lot of games have realized. But it also starts you in the mid-game, which is surprising. I think Gordy is supposed to be the big guy called Cody. Yeah, the guy who looks like he's from Fist of the North Star in the original game. Yeah, that's the same guy. Animation lock happens with Daryl and Gustav as well when certain characters... Yes. That whole thing is essentially how Gary works later on. I'm not going to spoil anything. We're not going to talk about anything that happens post year 1 until we're at those years. But for the most part, there's like a handful of characters who all have these like fixed animations or whatever. And talking to them during that, they'll just tell you to bug off, and then you get reduced friendship points. But then other times, they'll accept the gift anyways, and you'll still wind up with a penalty. It's mildly annoying, to say the least. I have considered going into modding this game as well, just because there's some things that I think need improving, but otherwise I think it's a perfectly great mod, or a perfectly great version of the game. It's much better than the original games in terms of quality of life. You can't beat the nostalgic aesthetic of like old early 2000s games, but this game's amazing. I love it to death. Like I said before, this was my first farm life sim game when I was 9 years old. So it holds a very special place in my heart. Okay. That's going to be the first episode. Quality of life such as... I'm rethinking playing the original or this one. Okay. Here's the entire list of quality of life that you need to understand between the original game and this one. In the original games, there are forced romance options, and you have to select a certain game in order to get those romance options. So if you want to play as a girl, you have to play Another Wonderful Life, and you only have access to the male options. And then for both of those games, you couldn't decide if you could have a daughter. That was only in Special Edition, as far as I'm aware. And Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life Special Edition is notoriously one of the hardest games to like find a decent version of. The only one that seems remotely tolerable is the PS4 version of the game that fixes the substantial frame rate issues, but as a result, the whole game just runs faster and it feels weird. In the remake, the Switch remake, You can romance any partner. You have a non-binary character gender option. Yeah, any gender, any romance, any child gender. Yes. Uh, the not only do you not have to worry about finding where characters are, they pop in way further. They're almost always visible in your line of sight instead of the distant pop in that would happen in like GameCube or PS2 just due to the render distance. Now you can see where everybody is at any point, and it's very nice to just keep track of them. The map also does a very good job of that. This map tells you where people are, if they're in these areas, and you can get a decent idea of their routines, but also you can just check on every single character's relationship with you, instead of having to go to the little hidden area to find out, like, oh, this character likes me. You can still do that with all the romance partners that had them as like a legacy thing, but you now just have a consolidated list, and you also just have everything tracked. It's far more convenient. There's some stuff that they eliminated the diary, kinda yeah, kinda no. It's all over the place now. There's a place to check your expenses and income and all the achievements that you've done. Everything's kind of just been placed into one main thing. You can still save manually, you can still do all that stuff. All these automations are likely due to the hardware it's running on versus the code. It's the same game all the way down. Yeah, I noticed that just based off of the pathing of the NPCs, especially when you open up a market. When you open up a market, you can tell when they're interested because they immediately snap to the nearest path that leads them to your market stall. And I always found that interesting, but it is without a doubt this is like verbatim the original code, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm okay with. Metroid Prime Remastered has a similar thing like that, where it's essentially running on the exact same code, but it's just way higher quality. The Switch can handle higher polygons, it just can't handle much higher of a resolution. You can find dummy debugged out old scripts of things that got removed, like dead animal scripting. Or yeah, there's a lot of nuance to this game. It's something that I wanted to talk about with this series, just because this game's development history is super fascinating. Not only was this a more experimental Harvest Moon game that focused more on trying to add more depth to villager relationships and just their like ongoing life their ongoing life continuing independently of your own actions. I think it's a super fun game to play, and it's a very different twist on the Harvest Moon formula that works, because it starts you off in the mid game. You have a coop, you have a barn, you start with a cow, and you have less plot to work with though, and I think that's fun. It's good. I have a lot of fond memories of this game. I was 9 years old when the original Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life came out, and we rented it from Blockbuster. My sister and I would play it together, and like watch each other play and take notes about like how to go through things, what characters liked what things. It was probably the second most played game my sister and I played together, next to Animal Crossing. I love A Wonderful Life. It's without a doubt my favorite, even though I know that there are far better games. Like, any of the Mineral Town games are fine. If you want specifically the farm aspect of farm life, while keeping life simple, then you go for a Mineral Town game. For sure. Had a GameCube with no memory card, and it was my first GameCube game ever. I would spend hours starting the game over from scratch and never turning it off. That's how I played through most of Star Fox Adventures. When I played through Star Fox Adventures, I played that game for 8 hours straight, trying to beat it, since I forgot my memory card at home and I went to my grandparents' house, who lived like 6 hours away from where I lived. And that's what's nice about these games being remade, is that we can kind of relive these parts of memories that were once locked out. Because you mentioned the dead animal scripting. There's a bit of an analogy, or not an analogy, but a bit of what's the word? A bit of a story to tell about it. The N64 didn't need a save card. Yeah, I know, right? Technically, some games did. They needed the memory pack you plugged into the back of the controller. But they never told you until it was, like, too late. Especially if you rented games. If you rented games, you didn't get to see the box, so you didn't know what was required. And then some rental stores, they would be like, oh, you need this N64 expansion pack for this. You pay an extra $1 to rent the expansion pack so you can play Donkey Kong 64 or Majora's Mask. And then you had to take a chance on the fact that there was an open save file to use, but there never was. So you had to be like, okay, whose weekend am I ruining by deleting their save file? I miss rental stores. In case, so there's a handful of new people here that I notice have come in, and I feel like I need to sort of reiterate what's going on. This is a sort of a live playthrough where I'm sort of just doing a fully 100% unguided playthrough, quote unquote, where I write down as many notes as possible and just kind of play through it naturally and see how much I can see how much I can discover and figure out without needing to like look up a manual or anything. A lot of what I'm doing is based off of muscle memory. And I have played this up to year 3 on a casual file, just to like see how I could improve it. One of the more important things is that I actually grabbed it, or I made a reshade filter for this game so that it was a little bit cleaner of a signal for those who are watching. Because this game's on Switch, and there's like a natural backlighting to everything, on the Switch when you're in portable, they have this disgusting green filter over the entire game, in order to make it more visible when you're playing from a screen or anything like that. And the in-game brightness options in the PC version, I feel like is just like some kind of remixed backlight option that doesn't really work. But I can turn off the reshade, and you can see like it's just green all over the place. It's green everywhere. Everything's green. And it's also, I would argue, a little too bright. That's just me. I remember A Wonderful Life being more desaturated. But you can't completely desaturate this. Yeah, it's like an algae-covered aquarium, exactly. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, especially for a handheld, where you do need to be able to see the game. A Wonderful Life had less contrast, yeah. It had less contrast, and it was pretty desaturated because it was supposed to be more grounded and realistic. If I used the base texture pack, because I can also show that, we're in the middle of a break, so I can kind of show this. I do know people have made some fun reshade presets to make it closer to the OG. Yeah, I grabbed one off of Nexus, and I initially planned on using it, but I didn't really like how it panned out, and there's a handful of additional issues that come from using certain effects where you can see like the depth buffer behind UI elements, and it gives this just not great looking effect. So I went simple. I just returned all the color as best as I could without completely eliminating greens. But if I showed you, if I just switch these two file names real quick. But it's a very interesting coincidence that someone who is actively modding this game is just chilling here. I respect it though. I think if you're gonna mod a game, then it should be something you want to play. and want to play for a while. But just for posterity, so people understand what we're talking about, this is a handful of mods that I grabbed from Nexus, namely one that was supposed to be a more faithful representation of the original game's textures. And it brings all the colors to a lot more of a natural state instead of making them a lot more vibrant and cartoony. This community is so small and niche, and basically nobody knows mods exist. The first thing I did when I found out that this game was on PC was wondering if there were mods. Because I know that specifically Farm Life games, mods are kind of important. And especially for A Wonderful Life, I knew that there were going to be instances where I was like, I really wish that they kept this in. Because one of the things that I wanted to figure out how to re-implement was the put-away animation. The problem is that based off of what you're saying, the idea that I had wouldn't work. Modding this game is easier to play mods on Switch versus PC. I believe it. I found a pretty easy way to do it. I know it's easier on Switch because all you do is just probably load in some files or whatever. I don't want to mess with my Switch. But the fact of the matter is that... Oh, wait. Before I switch that back, I need to change this to disk mod, change this back to disk, and then launch it. But thank you for putting the time in to show your passion about a game, because it is important. Editing animations is something we can do? Okay. Fair enough. She needed a custom sleeping animation? Oh, yeah. I mean, honestly, the fact that the community sort of picked up the slack where there has kind of been a lack of support is I say lack of support, more like it just doesn't get updated. It's good to see that the community is picking this up, because I didn't want this thing to just kind of fade into nothingness once it re-released. It's very good. Love this game. There are a couple of alerts that I had to run. I forgot to change the chat screen, so hold on. Alerts should play now. That this is here. Otherwise, I will go repeat them. But I did see that Raffadil, you followed. Thank you so much, and welcome to the Spirit Bound. In case you were new here, I'll go ahead and introduce myself before we start the next episode of recording. But my name is Nikita Esperon. I am an Android VTuber that specializes in RPGs and FPS games, and I more specifically center the kinds of games that I want to play for other people around the 90s and early 2000s, because that's when gaming left the biggest impression on me. You mentioned a while ago that you were talking about like the dead animal event scripting, and I have an interesting story about that, because in this version of Story Seasons: A Wonderful Life, animals don't die. Their happiness and their health are sort of united into one stat called health. But there's no animal medicine in the game. You just have to take care of the animals and make sure that their health isn't too low. In the original game, it was my first farm life sim game, and I had never... I'm gonna load music so you actually have something other than me talking. There. I was 9 years old, probably just about to turn 10. I don't remember how long it was since A Wonderful Life came out, but it was right around the time it did, because I remember it being in a Nintendo Power magazine. I rented it, played it with my sister, and loved it, but we both didn't understand that there were more than one romance option in the entire game. We thought that Molly was the only one, because Molly is the first character that shows interest in you before you even really get to know her, and she had the easiest affection checker to find. It was just in the Bluebird bar to the corner. But so I spent all this time raising my relationship with Muffy, and then she finally agreed, or she finally was at a high enough affection that I could propose to her. And I was so excited. I was so excited to play, or I was so excited that I was getting married that I just slept through all the days. And then the wedding happened. I was excited. And year 2 starts. I have a kid. And then after all these happy events go on, I had to watch as every single one of my animals died in their own cutscene. And I was beside myself. This game was the concept of death. Yeah. This game is this game definitely left a lasting impression on me. It is the source of some of my earliest trauma. Specifically because of that, because of the whole marriage thing that happened with me. I did it to myself. I can't blame the game for that, but it is still like a story that I compacted apparently, since it wasn't until like a couple of years ago when this game got remade that those memories shot back into my brain. But there's a lot of very dark themes about this game that really gets you to kind of come to terms with mortality and understanding death and its impact. And we'll get there when we get there, obviously. We're not going to like spoil anything for people who aren't aware of this game's like events or anything like that. But the reason why it's called A Wonderful Life is pretty honest. I never got to the final year of the game, and I certainly didn't see Heaven mode because I only played the GameCube version. But the idea that there was like a sense of finality to the game did impact me. So I'm very excited to be able to play this game for people, because this game's like a very vivid memory in the back of my brain. It feels like it feels like it shaped a lot of concepts for me. It taught me to sort of learn to better appreciate life, and it's something that I did forget for a while. But coming back and playing this game, it fills me with delight. It fills me with delight that there's something that knows what it is, and it's not afraid of telling you what will happen, but it's just like, enjoy the ride. It's gonna happen whether you like it or not. Just live your life as vibrantly and as freely as you want. And that sort of stuff stuck with me. It's a very, very special game. So, who's ready for day 2 of doing a whole lot of the same stuff? Because the first introduction of the game takes a while. Now that we're in day 2, it's going to be a lot less so. But yeah, this game's good. I recommend it to anyone. So, if you are interested in the Story of Seasons games, there are 3 that I would recommend. There are 3 Story of Seasons games that have been released in the past 7 or 8 years that I highly recommend. You have to do your research. Just do a little bit of research between the 3 games, because each of the 3 provides different styles of the game. But not all of them are bad, necessarily. Like, Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life is going to give you a much deeper life aspect of the game. Story of Seasons: Friends of Mineral Town is going to focus a lot more on the farm aspect and the optimization process that these games grew popular for. And then, if you want to see sort of the direction that they're taking Story of Seasons, not direction, but the style of games that they're experimenting with to see what mechanics and formulas work with the series, Pioneers of All Uptown. It's not the best. but I think it's novel enough that you should look into it. But they put these games on sale all the time because it's Marvelous. Marvelous Entertainment does sales on their games all the time. Just look at EDF. If you want a farm life game and you're tired of playing Stardew Valley for 1,000 hours, try a Story of Seasons game. It's going to be a little less complicated. It's going to be maybe a little bit filtered, a little janky, but I mean, there's a reason why Stardew Valley was such a big success, is that it was a farm life sim game that felt like it understood where the environment was changing. And Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life is the first game in the Story of Seasons series that feels like they are taking a step in the right direction for just sort of allowing you to express yourself freely as the person you believe you are without feeling like you're just stonewalled by restrictions that are dated. And yes, I am specifically talking about romance options as well as gender identity options. The fact that they even have a non-binary option in this game is insane. 20 years ago, we would have thought people were crazy. 20 years ago, that wouldn't have been allowed. A lot has happened. And this game is one of the big signs of that. The other game that I feel is going to make a substantial step in that regard too is the Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. When that comes out next month, it's going to be a lot of fun. Just in general, our generation, our childhood games are making a comeback in some special way. It's going to be good. I kind of want you to play the Mary Flora mod. In the rewrite, it's a love letter to the childhood nostalgia for this game and all of those concepts. I feel like you get it. Is it on Nexus? Maybe I saw it on Nexus. I feel like I did, and I didn't grab it yet because I wanted to stick to vanilla until I beat it once. And then, like, try that stuff. But, I mean, the fact that there's even an additional romance option mod, and this game's only been out for, like, 7 or 8 months, like, you get it. Own that. That's crazy. Not a lot of people will put that kind of effort in that short of time. I just didn't expect you to have the same understanding I did of the game. I have a very deep emotional attachment to video games. Harvest Moon: A Wonderful Life is one of them. Animal Crossing is another one. The biggest influence on my life personally was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time. That game literally changed my life viewpoint. So every single time somebody comes in here and is just like, I remember this game from childhood, it left so many good memories, I'm just like, yes, remember those. Feel those. These games do have a special place because they have memories that are immutable. That's what makes them beautiful, is that even though they give you so much agency, they still allow you to create memories that are unique to your own, that still resonate with others. That's something that no other medium can do, and that's what makes it so interesting. This game is no exception. It was a very early exposure to death as a concept when you're a kid. Those sorts of moments, they have to matter when you're at that impressionable of an age. Since there needs to be something about it that makes you realize that there is value to life outside of a nihilistic value. It's great. Video games are great. Never understood why Flora wasn't a romance option as a kid. Always loved her the most. Never could mod the OG games, but in the Switch version, making breakthroughs. Yeah, that if anything, the Switch version is going to be the most interesting to watch. There's only like a matter of time before there's like a PS2 back, or not a PS2, but like a GameCube/PS2 backport of all the stuff. Like replacing, like moving the textures back in, but I know the resolution's not the same, and that's going to be a mess because they were all mapped differently. I'm deeply invested in watching any modding community for a grassroots game like this. It's always fun. It's great. I love it. I respect it, and I hope that you have great success with that. I'm going to run an ad real quick, and then we'll start the next episode, because this is going to be like an hour. and then we'll actually play the game. I promise. I try my best not to interact with chat in the middle of a playthrough, or in the middle of a recording, but obviously there are people just coming in and saying hi and hanging out and doing their thing, and I just want you to know that I see you and I appreciate you. It's all filled with up the 30-somethings with huge nostalgia goggles. Yeah, let's be honest. You have to have some rose-tinted shades to really like this game, but that's kind of the case with a lot of games that are my favorites, is that I find that the games themselves are not that great, but it's the universe that they let you live in that matters. Especially with, like, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I don't think... yeah, it's the memories that I get to relive, and I get to tell some crazy stories about Harvest Moon specifically, and Animal Crossing, and all these games from my childhood. It's great. It's great. It's why I wanted to do a live playthrough instead of just recording these episodically. This game's a gift. And it's only inspired me to try to pick up other Harvest Moon and Story of Seasons games, because I know it's not the best port ever. It's a game. It's a Switch port. There's a Switch game remade off of the GameCube code and ported to PC. I'm streaming it at 1080p. I'm recording it in 4K, like a fool, for the highest possible quality. All because I want people to see this game for what it is, which is, I just think it's a down-to-earth, just like revelation. So, let's begin day 2, because we've been live for 2 hours and I only have 2 episodes, or I only have 1 episode recorded. It's fine. It's fine. We'll just go a little bit long. Alright, welcome back to day 2. Today's weather is warm. It's hopefully not going to change. Summer's Love, episode 1. Oh boy. Who loves their... I can't tell what... I mean, it's supposed to be like a pseudo-joke on a lot of high school life anime. Oh my gosh, I'm so late! So there I am, dashing to school with a piece of toast in my mouth, when BAM! Uh-oh, I crashed right into a boy. Hey, watch where you're going, you clown! I immediately holler at the top of my lungs. What? You're the one who crashed into me! Well, maybe you shouldn't have gotten crashed into, I continue hollering. Ever consider that? We lock eyes. If this boy thinks I'm going to apologize just because I'm in the wrong, he's got another thing coming. He also has really pretty eyes, and a beautiful face, and the same school uniform as me? Just who do you think you are, anyway? Achilles tendon, but everyone calls me Ace. Who is this mysterious Ace, and what will happen to our protagonist? Find out next time on Summer's Love! Yeah, these are ongoing shows that'll happen throughout the season, and they're all parodies of just kind of the most tropey things you can imagine. That's why we love it. So today, we will be putting down more crops, because now I have the capability to do it. I'm no longer tired. Strawberry seeds can go in the back, and regular potato seeds can go in the front. And then it's time to water all of them. The current plan after we're done with watering these plants is to go get more flowers and just talk to more people. There's not that many individuals we can talk to give items to, because we can't fish yet. And fishing combined with flowers are going to be our best way to kind of brute force through all of the friendships in this game. There are a couple of exceptions that we'll get to, where pre-made dishes and fish won't do much. But there's only one character in that regard that we have to worry about. Every single character here likes fish, or at least a cooked meal. And those are easy to make. In fact, for an early playthrough, I'd argue that just going and grabbing all the aromatic herbs you find and then making them into herbal soup is the most cost-effective way to keep your stamina up. I also need to put down more fertilizer because this little patch of grass doesn't grow. They did start us off with fertilizer, so I'll just plant what I have. I'm also going to... Okay, that's all watered. I feel like pointing out for posterity that the item bag radial menu of the remake is, without a doubt, one of the best quality of lives of this remake. Dealing with your inventory is an insane nightmare in the early version of the game. Or in the early, or in, like, the GameCube or PS2 versions of A Wonderful Life. Just because you had to open up a single menu and then go through the radial menu and then select it as the item you take out. I can put that in. And then I'm gonna make herbal teas for my way through. I think the watering system is a huge quality of life. Yeah. Yeah. In the original game, you had to be very careful, and I don't think there was a grid display. I didn't think it showed you what tile you were touching, or what tile you were targeting with your watering can. There wasn't like a cursor, so you had to guess sometimes. And it got a little messy. And it also took really long. The water pouring animation in the original game took forever. In this game, I don't think it takes long enough. That's fine. I consider it a bona fide miracle that my computer hasn't exploded yet from trying to play this. With all this stuff set up. But we're good. We're fine. Everything's normal. So I saw a couple of people in chat. They had interest in a couple of characters that we'd already encountered. We've met Cecilia, we've met Rock. We've met Molly, and we're just waiting on a couple of other cutscenes, really. Alright, and we can give Matthew an herbal soup. He does like herbal soup, so we can start befriending him that way. In all of these houses... Ah, okay, so this is Matthew's relationship checker. There should be a recipe around here. Maybe not. In most of the buildings of this game, you can scrounge around and, like, find... Return from Mineral Town is stamped on these boxes. Oh, okay. To Flowerbud Village. I think these are all references to other Harvest Moon games. Damaged crops. I can't remember Flowerbud Farm. Or I can't remember Flowerbud at all. I think that's like the original game. You like cooked food. Well, actually, no, you don't. You like... What do you like? I think you like fish. I see you're a morning person. What's up with that? I mean, you're welcome to try it. You're more than welcome to try the herbal soup. It's not going to boost friendship by much, but it's the thought that counts. I think today we spend our time mining. And mining is ridiculously basic compared to all the other Harvest Moon games or Story of Seasons games. There are no floors to explore. There are no floors to explore. There is no real, like, progression to things that doesn't happen naturally through time. So for now, we're just kind of committed to doing that. No answer, so they're both in here. In order to start mining, we have to talk to Carter, and he will want us to get started on this. History awaits, my friend. Happy digging. When we're close to digging up an object, it'll sort of pop out of the ground, and that's the only real hint of it. But for the most part, the only interaction we're going to be doing with any of these things is just hitting X. Until the object shows up. And we're going to keep doing this for a while until we hit a certain item. And then we're done for the day. It's kind of a waste of time to go to bed early, personally speaking. There's a lot more you can do late at night, waiting on certain characters for their interactions to happen. But for the most part, all of these characters like flowers, all of them will either take fish or cooked items. And let's see here, what else? We realistically only have to tend to our animals to the best of our abilities and raise crops. We're not going to be able to get a... We're not going to be able to get a whole lot when we first start. Ooh, a golden fork. That's worth 1,000 gold. That's very good for day one. Or, well, day two, but... That means we can afford a couple of things. Actually, that means that we have all the money we realistically need. But we do need a gift to give to Van. Van is a person who appears only on the 3rd and 8th day of every season. And depending on what you've done, with a handful of rules, you can get tool upgrades, new outfits, and a small assortment of random items that may or may not be important to you. It's also where you can get stuff that boosts your stamina or your stamina to full or to a really high amount. And we'll see that in a little bit, but yeah, the first couple days are kind of just slow going. It's not until you start hitting the routine of like doing all these missions and talking to everyone and keeping up with everyone that it becomes a bit of a trick. Again, the aspect of the game is about life and not necessarily exclusively about the farm. Jeez. Well. Don't you love cars? I have my windows closed. That thing is loud. Oh my god. Where was I? Yeah, so there are a couple of characters that we have to talk to. We want to talk to them and make sure that we befriend them, because it's going to be a nuisance to befriend them later. So we're only digging to get a specific thing from this cavern. There's a chance that we don't even get it. It's possible to not get it the first try, but I think we may be close to getting it. We'll find out once we're done. As far as I'm aware, it doesn't matter where you dig. There's just a chance that you dig up something. It's kind of in, like, layers. Can I help you, Carter? Well, at the very least, we're gonna get some good money out of it. Like, the fact that we got 2 golden forks is not a bad deal. Not a bad deal at all. Alright, I'm gonna quit at about 3:30. If what I'm looking for doesn't pop up, then I'm just gonna quit. Because I need to talk to Gary and Nina and give them stuff. And that requires 6 golden forks. There we go. That's what we wanted. We got a stone tablet with some glyphs on it. Yeah, that depends on the luck forecast as well. It tells you when you can get really good luck for digging up forks. And then you have to wait on Chihuahua to show up. Something appears to be inscribed on it. Why, this could be a key to Forgotten Valley's ancient civilization. May I take it off your hands for the time being? Yes, of course. Here you go. There appears to be nothing else of archaeological value here, so please feel free to keep the rest of your findings. That is all for today. I hope we can count on your continued assistance. Okay. Well, now we have a bunch of goodies to sell. The coins are not worth much at all, but the forks are the most lucrative. I think what I'm going to do is, I don't think it matters what treasure you give Van to boost your relationship with him, so I'm just going to give him a coin. I don't think it matters. Did I already give you a flower? No. And then I had to go around town and look for more aromatic herbs. You don't like flowers, you like herbal soup? Why not have that at home? Oh, did I already give you? I gave her an item already, I think. We'll give Rock an item, even though I don't like him as a person. Okay. Hi, Pooey. I need to learn Pooey's routine. In case anyone's wondering about, like, all these character redesigns, anytime I talk to these characters for the first time, I'll show what they looked like in the original GameCube version of the game. Because some of these changes are pretty extreme. Some of these characters do not look like what they looked like. Pooey is a prime example of that. In the original A Wonderful Life, Pooey was a character named Murray, and Murray was a very scrungly looking caveman dude. Oh. Hi, Nina. How's about taking a walk down to the beach, Nina? Oh, yes, that sounds splendid, dear. Shall we? Hey, look at that adorable couple. Oh, hey, Nami. What? Oh, it's you. Huh? What am I up to? Not much. Just deciding where to go next. Alright, I've decided. I'm gonna take a stroll over to the villa. Catch you later. Well, I do have to go down that way. I also have to give... I don't think I have anything to give Gavin. Again, I need to wait on the ability to fish. To be able to work on Gavin's affection. That's essentially just, like, the biggest block of this. In the original GameCube version of A Wonderful Life, Van would show up on day one, and you could just buy the brush, and you could buy the fishing rod from him right away, and then you never had to worry about it. In this, you have to wait for his first trip to be on the 3rd of spring. Yeah, sure. Here you go. Okay. It's also particularly difficult because most of the male candidates like cooked dishes or fish. Yes, it is for you, Ramada. Um, what is it? Cats. Beautiful cats. Hi, Sebastian. You are the family's newest resident, Anna, yes? Managing a farm is sure to be taxing, but I wish you success in your travails. For my part, I shall endeavor to serve Mistress Romana to the best of my ability. Fortunately, everybody at the villa can be coerced with flowers. I do have to go here and look at this. How to make marinade. Any fish plus aromatic herb plus tomato or turnip. Off the bed, good chat, have a good stream. Okay, thank you for showing up, Daphne, or Danny. Have a good rest of your day. This will be happening every Friday, just in case you're wondering. I wonder if the fireworks boys are in. Aha. If you want to talk pyrotechnics, you've come to the right place. Hey there, whippersnapper. How's about playing a little game with me? I love games. Good, good. Come at me with all you got. Need me to explain the rules? No thanks. I got this. Well, about time we got the show on the road. This is territories. In order for us to gain points, we need to surround a triangle with that, and then it becomes a point. Unfortunately, the AI in this game is fooled easily by the ability to make really big shapes. As long as we keep this in order, we should be fine. I'll just close that and then do this. There you go. Alright, that's fine. So as long as we close these shapes, we can get easy points. And for the most part, he's completely blocked off, so we just win by a large margin. Well, I'll be dagnab. Don't think I've ever lost so badly before. You got me pretty darn good there. Gotta respect that. So, I wouldn't have come in here without a reason. My reason is that I have to fight Charlie and win in territories a small handful of times to get a certain special reward. When we have a rematch, you can bet your bottom G I'm gonna win. I don't think I can fight Cole unless Charlie isn't making a firework. And then I only get to fight either of them once a day, whenever they're available. I need to give Chris a flower. It's super nice how there's just like a chill cafe theme when you're around the area. It's good. Big fan. Okay, let's see. Is Gordy home? No. Is he at the beach? Oh, I see someone I need to talk to at Riverside because he's only awake after like 2 p.m. But I just need to check for the guy I'm looking for. There he is. Gordy is on the forest path. Already gave stuff to Rock. Gave stuff to Nina and to Gary. And I need to grab more aromatic herbs. Okay. So, if you haven't noticed at this point, this place is full of characters. And I don't mean like there's a bunch of just people walking around. No, every single character here is something special. There are just about every single trope you can imagine just hanging out. I need to befriend Gordy, because Gordy's a priority. Will you just accept an aromatic herb? Okay. Well, that answers my question. That's fine. And we will go ahead and give you an herbal soup. Yep, this is for you. Some characters you have to talk to twice. No idea why this is the case. But, you know, whatever. Did I haven't milked you yet at this hour. Okay. Check in on you again. I can do that twice a day as well. Call animals back in. Ring-a-ding-ding. Did I put fodder in the barn? Nope. There you go. Problem solved. On we go. So, our bin will have our first bit of money, but it also tells us when we get wonders. So we finally found a stone tablet, and we found a gold object, and that stuff will sell quite well at Vans tomorrow. But for now, we have a lot of milk to sell that gives us a decent amount of extra cash. And I'm just going to be putting away these toy flowers for later. Goddess Drop flowers spawn more frequently than toy flowers, and they're more plentiful. Alright, cloudy skies in a forecast. Tomorrow is Van's market day. He'll buy any unneeded items and he sells rare goods. In that same vein, we also picked up a bunch of additional outfits when you first started. All of these are DLC outfits. Most of them are free. Most of them are free. One costs $4, and it's the seasonal outfits pack, which is all these. The other outfits, which is this Happy, this Harvest Halloween style one, and then this Muka Muka outfit, are parts of free DLC that you can get. And I think they're alright. Not really my jam, but if you want to be something a little silly, then you can. For the most part, I'm going to show off all these outfits in varying ways across different seasons and years. So by the end, we will hopefully have seen all these outfits. And hopefully not ruin our perception of what fashion is. Let's go to sleep and wake up tomorrow anew. There's a note from Takakura. Hope you're getting used to things here. Check my notes if you have any questions. Yep. All these things will tell us what to do. But today is market day. But that is for next episode. So. Alright. I will be right back. I need a few minutes. Hello. I may or may not have some priorities that need to happen, so I'm gonna have to end it early. But I will send you all to a raid target. I know that today's stream was a little bit weird just because of how it works, but hopefully people enjoyed the style that happens here. It's not gonna happen that frequently. Doing LP recordings is just much more draining because I have to be able to sort of talk and keep up my own pace. But hopefully people liked the sort of style that this is going for. The final edit should be a lot less stressful for me to work with because of streamlining most of this process. That's more or less the goal, is that I wanted to be able to stream this and also make a YouTube series out of it, and I wanted to find that happy medium. But it's hard to do that sometimes. So, if it worked, and hooray. But I'm more or less just glad that that it didn't have too much issue, because I was super worried that that recording in 4K would be like too much. But now I know that we're good. So, all right, let us find a raid target. Ba ba da da ba da 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 da. Do 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 do. Okay. Who is live now? Ba 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 da da. Okay. Alright, I will just send you to some friends. I just missed it. Yeah, I'm cutting today's stream short because I have some stuff I have to attend to, but every Friday should be a stream of this until it is done. We will record every week until it is done. But feel free to just sort of hang out when I send you over to this guy. He drums. He plays drums. It's a chill dude. Hangs out, plays a handful of good music. Good time. Every Friday we'll be doing this. Tomorrow, I will be playing Content Warning at like 8 a.m. Pacific time with Karinga and a couple of other people. And then no plans for the rest of the week. On Monday, we will be playing more Legend of Dragoon with Ziona. And yeah, every Friday should be Story of Seasons: A Wonderful Life until we are done with the game. I'd like to thank everyone for joining. I know that this stream is kind of like not really the most interactive streams by comparison, but I still tried to have some semblance of inclusion with everyone here. Thank y'all for just like being here and supporting this just kind of out there concept. I got the idea from Stephen George. Stephen plays on YouTube. He has this layout style that he does for his streams as well, and I wanted to see if I could make it work for my own sort of commentary style and see how it works. And the only way to know is to start editing the episodes. So here's hoping. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Good night.